Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Concordia's Senior Director of Partnerships, Hannah Dalmut.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Empire Stage. It's my pleasure to welcome and kick off this particular room of programming for the 2022 Concordia Annual Summit. As mentioned, my name is Hannah Dalmut. I'm the Senior Director of Partnerships, and this room is going to have some amazing partnership building activities over the course of the next 3 days. And that's important because we're working at a global time period where things matter. Urgency matters, collaboration matters, people matter, you matter. And it's really excellent that we get the next 3 days here at Concordia to be tackling things like the climate crisis and its impending impact on tragedies like the hurricane in Puerto Rico right now, or to address and combat authoritarianism as a global geopolitical threat. So this room here is going to tackle some of these great topics, and I encourage everyone to be taking those solutions that they're hearing here or the work that they're doing around the world into the members lounge, into the general access lounges, and connecting with one another so that we can move this all forward together. It's my pleasure to be kicking off the Horizon Prize, which is conducted with the MIT Solve competition. That's what the next session is going to be. But if you're in this room throughout the day, I want to also acknowledge some really exciting content put in part with our programming partners and programming sponsors, including work with the Mayor's Office for International Affairs on gun regulation and violence prevention, with McKinsey & Co. on the importance of mental health, with the Wilson Center and addressing the refugee crisis, with the Darden School of Business with the University of Virginia and the U.S. Department of State Office of Global Partnerships and the P3 Impact Award. So again, lots of great partnerships conversations happening here in the Empire Stage. We couldn't be more thrilled. Make sure you're checking the agenda. You know where things are. Make sure you're hydrating with our reusable water, with our sustainability partner from McDonald's. Make sure you're talking about this on social media using hashtag Concordia22. And most important, make sure you're connecting with each other in the lounges, in the rooms, in the spaces. That's what Concordia is about. Thanks so much, and I'm happy to turn it over to our partners at Horizon Therapeutics and MIT Solve for this great session. Thanks, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. I'm Rachael Drew. I'm the portfolio lead for MIT Solve's Strategic and Partner Programs team. What does that mean? SOLVE is an initiative of the MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We work to drive innovation to solve world challenges. One of the ways that we do this is by partnering with organizations like Horizon Therapeutics. The Horizon Prize started in 2021, and it was created to solicit an open call for solutions that address rare disease across the globe. This year's prize focused specifically on improving quality of life for the over 400 million people living with rare diseases today. That's me. We launched this challenge earlier this year on April 19th. We had a huge response, so almost 180 solutions from dozens of countries around the world submitted. And our panel of expert judges did a lot of work and a lot of review and a lot of scoring to select the 5 finalists that you'll all get to hear from today. We have 2 judge representatives that you'll hear from as well, who are representing our judging panel and who will be working with the judges to make final deliberations on who the winner of the 2022 Horizon Prize will be. And now here's Holly Copeland, Senior Director of CSR, Sustainability and Impact for Horizon Therapeutics, to say hello and share a little bit about why the Horizon Prize was launched.
Thank you, Rachael. Good morning, good afternoon, perhaps good evening for those of you who have joined us virtually. My name is Holly Copeland. I oversee corporate social responsibility, sustainability, and impact at Horizon Therapeutics. As Rachael mentioned, this prize is still relatively in its infancy, but something we're incredibly proud to have partnered with MIT Solve on, because we recognize that as a global biotechnology company focused on rare and rheumatic diseases, we don't have all the answers. And our objective on this particular project is to really reveal and source innovative ideas that are in development all over the world, and to connect those ideas with people on our team to evaluate and perhaps partner moving forward. So we're really excited to see our 5 finalists present today, and look forward to hearing any questions that you all might have as part of this process. So thanks again for being here.
All right, so here's the plan for today. We have our finalists in the wings and also in Hong Kong virtually. So we'll get to hear a 3-minute summary pitch from each of our finalists. And then there will be a little bit of a Q&A. We have judges that'll be asking questions. And so we'll hear from all 5. This is our judging panel who has been part of this process from the beginning. We have 2 representatives who will be joining us virtually today, Breda and Raquel, so you'll hear from them. But a big thank you to all of our judges for participating. Their expertise and insightful questions are how we selected our 5 finalists today. The judging criteria that all of the judges looked at when evaluating all of our solutions, and the reason why we have finalists are because they have scored incredibly high on the following criteria. So we specifically look at alignment, potential for impact, feasibility, innovative approach, as well as inclusive human-centered design, so really finding solutions that are for communities by communities, scalability, and finally, partnership potential. So stay tuned for the winner announcement tomorrow on the main stage. We'll announce the time for that soon. And here are the 5 finalists that we're going to be hearing from. So we'll get started with Cameron first.
Hi everyone, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Hollow, Cameron, and I'm here to tell you why we need to solve the mental health crisis, particularly for rare disease patients. Now, 40 to 50% of rare disease patients actually develop depression. This is called comorbidity, but in Asia, we lack the infrastructure to target this through integrated care and pay attention to these patients surrounding the care that they need to live with their condition. Take Samson, for example. He's lived as an EB patient his whole life and dealt with chronic pain, and has minimal treatment options and has a fear of recurrence of his condition. And overall in Hong Kong, he has got poor symptom management options, he lacks any communication with his doctors, and doesn't actually have any targeted psychological care to deal with the mental health conditions of it. And that's why at Hollow we provide a gamified precision mental health solution, where we have a prescription digital therapeutic that's driven by the AI that we've developed for diagnostics in mental health. And we target comorbid populations like chronic patients and rare disease patients. Our gamified precision mental health goes through 3 main stages: identification, transparent communication, all this data with providers. Then we have a gamified digital treatment. For example, we have a gamified acceptance commitment therapy for cancer patients, where they work through 5-week programs of exercises learning about mindfulness and acceptance, about living with their condition. And patients are rewarded for their progress and use different mechanisms like swiping on their phones to complete the exercises. This process is all automated on our app. And we actually have one of our first AI models that we developed as a team that focuses on diagnostics of depression. We're able to identify it just through videos and interaction with the patient themselves. But why our team? So we're actually validating a lot of this technology through clinical trials and looking for an FDA clearance in 2024. The evidence-based treatment options and data-driven machine learning models allow us to have actionable insights for our patients. And the inclusive and localized data collection methods, especially in Asia, allows us to have an edge over hyper-Eurocentric approaches to mental health care. Now, we engage our patients through a typical patient relationship, and we provide our therapy as an adjunct to their existing care. We partner with institutions like pharma and insurance to get a sustainable financing option for a lot of these patients as well. We find that this model hasn't been looked at in Asia yet, and we can actually really be the right ones to actualize this partnership. We'll actually use this grant to help further our clinical pipeline and R&D structures. We're able to then build the model for prescriptions into a sustainable financial model, where we can actually fund more R&D and products into the market. We go through a rigorous design thinking, clinical trial process, as well as agile software development to make sure we have a patient-centered approach to our design. Now, we have a core team in data science, software development, and cognitive science in healthcare, backed by a lot of the professional advisory in this space and the many partnerships, opportunities in the startup space in Hong Kong, as well as many awards. So I hope you can join us as we make it mental health care inclusive for all and strive to leave no patient behind with the power of digital therapeutics. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I suppose I'll start by launching a first question. Is that okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Cameron, and congratulations to have made to the final stages of this prize. Perhaps what my question would be, could you please share more about these biomarkers that you are pursuing? If you could speak a little bit more to like what the biomarkers are and how you're looking to validate them, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure. So we actually have a couple of different biomarkers on our AI platform. So we started by looking at video sources. And so what we can take from video sources is our patient's facial data. We look at their gaze, we look at their posture, the rotations, the change in facial action units. We also look at the vocal tone. So that could be pitch change, flatness, shakiness. And then we also look at the NLP, so the language being used by patients. So this multimodal model was our first biomarker model that we looked at detecting signs of depression early. And this was actually outperforming a lot of the literature on multimodal models in depression detection. But a lot of the other biomarkers we're researching this year are really focused around risk assessment, creating a baseline measurement. So we're actually able to take data about the patients in their normal day-to-day and then track them throughout their life in the next couple of months, and then start to flag different points in their social ability, mobility, movement, and so different factors in their life that actually contribute, even looking at like location patterns. So a lot of these gives us insight into towards the mental health of the patient. And it's actually quite interesting to see how the data represents itself between US populations, Asian populations, and so on.
Thank you so much.
All right, and next up, we'll have SIA AI First Platform.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name is Melissa Bime, and I am the founder of Infuse Health, which is a platform to help researchers and pharmaceutical companies find participants for clinical trials across Africa. 3 years ago, I was working as a nurse in a hospital in Lagos, Nigeria, when we got requests from researchers in the US who wanted to be able to recruit participants for a sickle cell in pregnancy drug combination clinical trial. They had been going at it for 26 months in the US and had failed to recruit even one participant for this study. When they came into Lagos with the hospital I was working in, I was recruited as a research coordinator for this study, and we were able to recruit all of the women that they wanted within 4 months. And of the women we recruited, 80% of these were women who had never even been diagnosed with sickle cell. So these were women who were pregnant, had not even been diagnosed with sickle cell, but were eligible to take part in this new drug combination therapy that was really life-changing. The reality is over 72% of genetic diseases of rare diseases are of genetic etiology. And there is over 50 million Africans living with undiagnosed rare disease, as was the case of these women who took part in this study, which is weird because this is a huge population of over 1.4 billion people who have been proven to be the most genetically diverse population in the world, but have no real way to take part in clinical trials that give them access to cutting-edge medications. Enter Infuse Health. After that experience, I set out to build this company, which was a clinical trial management platform that would help pharma companies to find the right participants for these studies, as well as provide on-the-ground support for them to run these clinical trials in Africa. Africa is complex, Africa is hard, Africa is fragmented. We've heard all of that. But if you're able to partner with the right local people that understand how to navigate and how to find the right people to take part in these studies, you'll be able to find the most willing and the best participants that you can have that take part in any clinical trial process. So Infuse helps with participant sourcing and engagement. We also provide site solution services and on-the-ground services, from IRB approvals to site feasibility studies, and really just finding the best sites to send these participants to, as well as collecting high-quality data from these participants throughout the clinical trial process. The way we've been able to do this is we've built our technology that helps with biometric participant verification that really provides sponsors based in the US with verifiable high-quality data from these participants without them ever having to step foot in Africa. So why Africa? Again, we currently have over 68,000 ready-to-enroll participants across various rare disease indications, starting from sickle cell to other hematology indications such as hypothalassemia and a lot more. These are research-naive populations that have never taken part in research studies and that can really just provide researchers with high-quality data that you're sure comes out of your drug combination or your new vaccine or whatever medical device you're trying to test out for this pathology. We also give these participants, these researchers, the ability to get diverse data from these participants, which they would otherwise not be able to get access to. There is also less regulatory red tape within Africa for US and EU approved studies, as well as lower cost of running these studies in Africa as a whole. So join us as we bring rare disease clinical trials to Africa and provide this as a healthcare option to millions of Africans living with rare disease. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa, and congratulations for making it this far. As somebody who is an African and living in Africa, your initiative is something that we quite need. It's something that would fill a huge gap when it comes to rare diseases in Africa, especially clinical trials. So my question to you is, how much of reach have you made with pharmaceuticals and the academia concerning your initiative, and how much of an interest is there from them to collaborate and work with you?
Sure. So right now we have been able to run 12 clinical trials across 6 countries in Africa. Of these, 3 have been for rare disease studies. We've worked with researchers from Brown University, the University of Buffalo, and from Stanford within the US, as well as Oxford University in the UK. We see a lot of interest coming out of these researchers, and we see them wanting to come into the continent. But the problem is just you don't know what you don't know. They don't know how to navigate Africa, and that's really where we come in. Where we come in with the expertise of helping them, again, not only find these participants, but understand how to navigate the socio-cultural nuances that surround, recruiting participants for these clinical trials, as well as navigating IRB approvals that vary from country to country, in certain countries from state to state. The goal is really just they have interest, they don't know what to do, and that's where we come in with helping them navigate that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Hi. So, ready to start? Yeah. Namaste. This is Gajanan. I am from Breda. For the clicker. So in 2006, I moved back to India from US to help my mother who is suffering with asthma. Considering my mother's condition and her poor quality of health, I was visiting different doctors, hospitals, and I started asking questions to myself, why managing a chronic lung condition has to be so difficult and stressful? My journey continued. In 2018, I built India's first handheld digital spirometer, which can do precise and early diagnosis of any lung condition such as asthma, COPD, and ILD using AI, as well as using an Indian lung scale. 2020, the technology that we built was used for long COVID, and we helped more than 40,000 patients. 2021, when my mother's health improved, I decided to move to Denmark and work with Danish Healthcare Society to understand how they are managing these rare lung diseases. And now I have the company Breda, which is on a mission to help more than 1 million patients manage their lung condition. So for this particular challenge, we are working on ILD, interstitial lung diseases. This is what American Lung Association says. ILD is a combination of more than 200 diseases, and it is very difficult to manage and treat. Of course, the ILD can happen to anyone, including children. There are not specific reasons, but genetics is one of those. The second one is pollutants like asbestos. So what's our solution? Solution is SIA, Systematic Intervention Agent. It's an AI-first platform. Doctors use this platform to create a personalized holistic plan to treat the patient and also to do an early and precise diagnosis of ILD. Patient use AI personalized assistant. There is a community feature, coaching, a patient kit like this one, the home kit, which has different devices including spirometer, smart sensors to measure the medicine. And of course, the patients and caregivers can also use mobile app to communicate. Oops. Sorry.
Next slide.
Okay. So our solution SIA, it also has a lung health index scale, which is a 10-pointer scale for an easy communication between patients, doctors, and the coaches. What's our distribution model? So we are starting in Denmark. We are doing a 30-patient pilot study with our solution, first with a rare lung disease department at Aarhus University Hospital. Then we want to follow a country-specific distribution plan, partnering with pharma companies and insurance players, and in emerging markets like India, primarily partnering with government for early and precise diagnosis of ILD condition. Why MIT Solve? Of course, it's a very prestigious event. Horizon, they are doing a lot of work on rare diseases, and we believe that there is a learning that we can get from Horizon. Team, I think I'm blessed to have the right team. Professor Elizabeth Benstrup, who is part of our team and as a subject matter expert, she heads the rare lung disease department at Aarhus University Hospital, and she's the one who prepared the Danish ILD registry. Soren Carstens, a doctor himself with 25 years of experience, he focuses on patient research behavior. And Soren Keller comes from pharma and medtech industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gajanan. I suppose I have a quick question for you. This is a really interesting initiative. You talked briefly about the applications in long COVID, and now what you're doing with, when it comes to rare diseases involving the lung. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you see scalability playing a role for your solution?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rachael. What we believe is the devices that we are building, so we have our proprietary devices like what you see here, but we are also doing third-party device integration, like our system integrates with Fitbit or Apple Watch, also with third-party devices that are available in the market. So we don't think scalability in terms of integration of technology is a challenge. That's number one. Second thing, the way we have built the technology, it actually considers the operational challenges. For example, the spirometer that we have, we are saying that the test could be done even by a community worker. So it has some simple stuff, simple sensors which gives the guidance. So if you're not holding the device right, it gives you a beep. There is a machine learning based app which tells if the patient is not doing the test right or monitoring right. So we have considered, and I would say that I have also learned it personally with my experience of being with my mother and visiting various hospitals and doctor settings, how difficult and complex it is when it comes to diagnosing as well as managing this condition. So I think scale is something that we are trying to achieve with the technology. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Whenever, okay, good, great. Welcome to New York, everybody. Let me advance my slide. My name is Michael Hund, CEO of EB Research Partnership. We were started by a group of parents that want to save their children's life, along with Jill and Eddie Vedder of the band Pearl Jam, with one bold, audacious goal: cure the life-threatening genetic skin disease EB by 2030, and along the way, pioneer a really innovative model that can scale to anybody with a rare disease. So part of that innovative model is we do venture capital, we do venture philanthropy, we fund academic medical centers, we've funded companies, we've started a holding company. So we're not your grandparents' nonprofit. We tend to be more innovative and do things differently. Hence, starting something called our Curator platform for rare disease. What's the point? The key goals: number one, empower patients. Put them in the driver's seat to curate their own journey with disease. Number two, overcome really big barriers to clinical trials in rare disease. What are some big barriers? Clinical trial recruitment, biobank data, patient registries, patient-reported outcomes, and finally, community building. How can we unite patients with their clinicians, with biotech and pharmaceutical companies working in the space, with payers, along with technology companies? Oh, sorry, I thought that was up. What's unique about EB? It's a monogenic rare disease caused by one genetic mutation. Kids with EB are called butterfly children because their skin is as fragile as the wings of a butterfly. So when we sought out to build a technology platform for the disease, it was a great problem to solve. We said, what's the best team that we can build? We partnered with the Stanford Center for Definitive and Curative Medicine, my favorite name of an academic center, Definitive and Curative. And we also said, look, we need the best technology companies, the best genomic platform companies. So we were joined by the world's biggest cloud computing company, AWS, and GeneDx, a leader in rare disease. So we really started with one question: how can we make navigating your journey with a rare disease as easy as entering in a destination in your GPS? But for us, the right and left turns were the right treatment, the right destination for the right patient at the right time. So we really wanted this to be simple, have good UX, good design. So what did we build? Number one, we said, what data exists? GeneDx data, genomic data, what biobanks are out there. We had a community cell bank of cell lines for patients. We said, what ecosystem data exists that's publicly available? Clinicaltrials.gov, PubMed, EHR records that clinicians were willing to share with us. And how can we reach patients to help them contribute to scientific research, longitudinal studies, patient-reported outcome data, sharing their GeneDx records with us and their genomic records with us. And we put that on the cloud, on a large analytics platform, and we shared it with our clinical research consortium, biotech and pharma companies in the FDA, along with, most importantly, patients and families. A lot of times, the feedback loop doesn't get to the people that are actually battling the disease. So how does this actually work? When a patient signs and comes to our website and signs up on the platform, they order a GeneDx kit. So we actually mail a genomic sequencing kit to their home, so kind of the 23andMe of rare disease. They swab their cheek, they send it back, they get a call from Stanford University, and they get a free genomic counseling session. So not just a readout of their genomics, but somebody holding their hand, guiding them through the process. They fill out a longitudinal genomic survey, and just by doing those two simple things, it takes about 10 minutes to do, you're connected with the best medical center within 100 miles of you. You're connected with patients that have the same disease and the same subtype as the disease as you, a resource library of clinical trials and videos and publications that can help you in your disease, and most importantly, clinical trials. A key element of the platform is we wanted this to be easy and usable. People don't talk about good UX and healthcare synonymously in the same sentence, so we wanted it to feel like a native app that a patient would use at home. So what does this mean? If we can build a platform that puts speed into advancing clinical trials, invites companies and researchers to come in the space because we have good data, and are allow patients to curate their journey of the disease, it means that hours spent with bandage changes, doctor's visits, hospital visits, and really, really, really difficult coordination of care and a life expectancy that's 1 to 30 years old, we can make EB history and give that time back to patients, families, and let them be kids and restore their childhood. So thank you to MIT Solve and Horizon for the opportunity to be here today.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for that. This is brilliant, such comprehensive, patient-centric platform. And as you mentioned in the beginning of your pitch, we know that the EB research, has been, innovating and pioneering for a while. My question is a two-in-one question. I mean, have you been taking inspiration for this particular solution from any other projects out there? Or do you believe that you're truly building, yet again, perhaps a model legacy for other rare disease projects to come?
Yeah, it's a great question. And part of the track record is, we've funded 150 projects in 40 countries, and we've seen the clinical landscape trial space evolve. When we started, there was only 2 clinical trials for EB. Today, there's 35. There's 4 phase 3 clinical treatments. So the burden of being a rare disease that's leading with an advanced clinical pipeline inspired the idea. So when we went to AWS and GeneDx, exactly to your question, I think part of why we got their support is we didn't say we want to build a platform for EB, because I don't think people would have listened to us and rallied behind us. We said we want to build a platform for any rare disease, but we want to be the pilot for it. And it's the same way, to your point, we've always operated. We want to build a venture philanthropy model that any rare disease organization can use. We want to start companies and spin out a holding company that any rare disease organization can. So that was not only part of the intention, but core to our fabric as an organization to think about how can we scale to the 10% of the world that has a rare disease.
Thank you. Congratulations. Sounds very interesting.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dr. William Mapham. I'm the CEO of Vula Mobile. This is a picture of the University of Cape Town, where I qualified as a medical doctor. A very keen student, but you'll be horrified to know that I only actually had 1 lecture on rare diseases during my 6 years there. After qualifying, I went back to the Eastern Cape province, which is where I'm from. It's a bit of a rural province. This is one of the roads to the hospital. And there were 3 of us doctors serving a population of 250,000 people. So we were very busy, and we had no access to specialist support. However, I think there's actually something we can do to make a change. Vula is now used in 1,800 health facilities across sub-Saharan Africa. And imagine if we could support all the healthcare workers working in those facilities to manage patients with rare diseases. That's why we invented Vula. Vula is an app and an online system that connects rural healthcare workers like I was with specialists like I am today, essentially meaning you can offer specialist-guided healthcare in any facility. It took us 3 years to get things right. So initially, our scaling took a while, but we're now used by over 28,000 healthcare workers, and the number of patients has gone up to 1 patient per minute now. A great thing about Vula is that while the healthcare workers are talking about conditions and getting advice, making referrals, all the data is recorded and actually displayed to the health administrators every single month. So they can make systemic changes. So for example, they can search by rare disease name and see where are those patients being treated and how do we support the healthcare workers in those areas. Vula's been voted the best healthcare solution in South Africa in 2019, and the team was very excited to accept that prize. And then last year, we were voted one of the top 4 health interventions globally by UNDP that increase access to healthcare. The South African Department of Health loves Vula. They call Vula both the glue that holds the health system together and the oil that makes it work efficiently. And to help patients with rare conditions, you need both of these. The other thing that we love at Vula is partnerships. Healthcare can only really be delivered through partnerships. So we have partnerships with pharmaceutical companies, governments, NGOs, and academic institutions. And I'll just show you one example, a particular case where this is for rare diseases. We partnered with the Sanofi Rare Disease Division, and all the healthcare workers across the usership of Vula got a survey. We got 6,000 replies. So now we know exactly what people don't know about rare diseases. We then ran an advertising campaign on Vula, and whenever the healthcare worker clicked on it, they could actually then go to order testing kits for rare diseases, which resulted in testing kits being sent out to multiple health facilities across the country, more people being tested, more people diagnosed, and now more people on treatment. So diseases are rare, but we'd like partnerships to become common. And so we're very keen to partner with Horizon or any other companies that are represented in the audience to actually help us get more patients onto treatment. It's not just me. I've got a wonderful team in the background. Unusual for a tech company, we're actually more female than male. And you can see they're very enthusiastic about the work that we do. So thank you very much for listening to me, and would love to hear any questions.
Thank you very much, William, for that presentation. It was quite enlightening, and congratulations for making it this far. Your initiative is quite interesting and very much applicable to the African setting. So my question is, concerning data protection systems, what do you have in place to ensure safety of patient data?
So we take compliance exceptionally seriously. We wanted to be one of the leading organizations with compliance and data security. And we also like to share our approaches. So if you go online, you can read our publications on how to do it so that other healthcare organizations in Africa can follow, hopefully, our example. So different levels of security. It's all available on the website, from patient privacy, protection of the healthcare workers, data as well. And like a simple example is that if you take a photograph of a patient on WhatsApp, you're sharing it with a lot of people that shouldn't really have access to patient information. If you take a photograph of the patient through Vula, it's not even on your gallery. It's saved within the app, and you can only access it when you're using the app. So we spend a lot of time and energy on making sure we reach all the requirements that need to be met.
Thank you very much. Wishing you all the best.
Thanks very much.
All right, that is all we have for you today. So for the 4 finalists that we have in person today, I encourage you to meet with them, to get to know them better, to get to know their solutions. They're all doing incredible work around rare disease. The winner, after we connect with the judges and make final decisions, will be announced tomorrow, so stay tuned for the exact time when that announcement happens. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening. We're really excited about these solutions, and thank you to Horizon Therapeutics. They will be the ones awarding the prize of money to who is selected as the winner tomorrow, so that'll be $150,000 going to rare disease quality of life support. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.